Hey, what's up? Welcome to this new video. This one is paper 1 of May-June 2007. Again, this one is A-level math for paper 1. With that being said, let's move on to question number 1. Now, for this question, we have to find the value of C for which the line is a tangent to the curve this. Now, as you can see, we have this one equation and two equations. Now, what does it mean to be a tangent to the curve? It means that they meet at exactly one point. Now, we know if they meet or they have only one solution, we know that b squared minus 4ac have to be equal to 0. So that's the main thing behind this question. Now, let's try to solve this simultaneous equation we have here. So y is this? Replace y here, you will have 2x plus c square equal to 4x. Then we have to square this or expand this. That will give you 4x squared plus 4xc plus c squared. That will give you 4x. Now let's send everything to one side. You will have 4x squared plus 4cx minus 4x and plus c squared. Now let's try to find out the values that we have. Oh, here we can do something else. We can actually factorize the x outside. So you will have 4x squared plus, here we have 4c, here we have minus 4, and then x will be factorized outside. So as we know, we can just have the values for these, b squared minus 4ac. This will be a, this will be b, and that will be c. So b squared is 4c minus 4 squared minus 4 times a times c. C is c squared equal to 0. Now we just have to solve this equation and find the value of c. So one by one. So here we can expand. Here you will have 16 c squared minus so 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times 4 is 32. C plus 16, then minus 16c squared. So this and this will cancel out, obviously, as you can see here, and then we have 32c has to be 16, so c have to be 16 divided by 32, which will be half, but you can always double check to see if that is correct. So indeed, the value of c will be 0.5. And that will be the question 1. Now let's move on to the next question. The diagram shows the curve y equal to 3x power 1, so 1 over 4. Right, this is the equation of the curve. Now the shaded region is bounded by the curve, okay, the x-axis, as we can see here, and the lines, this and this. Great. Now we have to find the volume of the solid obtained when this region is rotated about the x-axis. Now again, this one is very easy, as we have seen many times before now. When we perform a rotation about the x-axis, we have to just use a formula, which is volume is equal to integration. If it is x, we write y squared respect to dx. Now, we know y is equal to this. What is y squared? Pretty easy. Just square, you will have 9x 1 over 2. So volume will be root pi is pi, that'll be 9x power half dx. Now let's take out the value here. We have 9x power half dx. Now let's try to integrate this step by step, so it should be pretty easy. So first thing first, we can just write this for now. The limits, obviously we know it is 0, 1. Sorry, it is 1, 4, not 0, 1. This is 4 here. That should be 1 here. And then here we just have x1 power 1 half by dx. Okay, so it should be pretty easy. So 9 pi is 9 pi. First increase the power by 1. That will be 3 over 2. Then divide by the same power. Limits we have is 4, 1. Now we can simplify. At first we can write this as 2 over 3 x 3 over 2, 4, 1. simplify again, you will have 9 pi multiplied by, first thing we have 2 over 3, 4, 3 over 2, minus 2 over 3, 1, 3 over 2. Now we can simplify one by one, so this one will be what? 4 power 1.5, which is 8. 8 times 2 will be 16, so 16 over 3. Minus, here we have simply 1, that should be 2 over 3. So 16 minus 2 should be 14. So here you will have 14 over 3. But your answer will be what? We have to take the 9 pi as well, so 9 pi multiplied by 14 over 3. You will have cancel out. So 3 times 14, that should be 42. So 42 pi for the volume of the solid. Of course, you have to write units cube for the volume. And now this is the question. This is a bit of integration, but again, it is not very hard. I'm sure you guys are able to do this step by step. The main idea here is we have to know the formula to use to find the volume of a solid of rotation, I guess, of revolution or rotation, same thing. Now let's move on to the next question. So we have to show the left hand side is equal to the right hand side. So let's begin with the left hand side. So at first we have 1 minus tan square x over 1 plus tan square x. This have to give you 1 minus 2 sine x. Now we know something that is given to you as well. If you have, so the ID that we have are sine square x plus cos square x equal to 1. However, it can be simplified or changed into another version. But again, this is given to you, right? For example, when we have sine square x plus cos square x is equal to 1. Now what happens if you divide everything by, let's say, because here we have divide by cos square x. You will also have tan square x plus 1 equal to sec square x. Okay, so that is one of the IDs we can use here, because here we have this and here we have this, so we can replace and see what happens. So on top it is just 1 minus tan square x for now. At the bottom we can replace this by this, that will be sec square x. Now we know sec square x, so what is sec x? Sec square x is 1 over cos square x. So let's replace 1 minus, so let me replace this as well. This is actually sine square x over cos square x over the value of 1 over cos square x. Let me first simplify the top because it could be confusing in the long run. So what can I do here? I can make them become the same base. So you will have cos square x minus sin square x over cos square x divided by 1 over cos square x. Now step by step we can simplify this pretty easy. On top you will have cos square x minus sin square x, and here we have cos square x. Now when you divide by something, we can change divide to multiply, and then we just have to flip this upside down. You will have cos square x over 1. I'm sure you guys learned this in O level, right? For example, if you have, we have, let's say, a over b divided by c over d. Now what we do usually is we leave the first one by itself, which is a over b, change divide to multiply, and flip this upside down. That will be this. So same thing applies here. We have a over b divided by c over d equal to, same thing at first, right? And then change this to multiply and flip this upside down. Now as you can see, this and this will obviously cancel out, so you will have cos square x minus sin square x. But your answer here is only contains sin square x, so we can change. We can change cos square x to what? That will be, If you look at this, cos square x equal to 1 minus sine square x. So replace, you will have cos square x. So let me replace first. That will be 1 minus sine square x minus sine square x. Now simplify, you would simply have 1 minus, so minus become minus 2 sine square x. Okay, and this is shown as required. Now let's move on to the next question. Here we have to find the real roots of this equation. So we have to find the values of x which have real values. Now one by one. So at first we have 18 over x power 4 plus 1 over x squared equal to the value of 4. But now we want to simplify, obviously, because here we have x power 4. We want to eliminate the highest power. So let me multiply everything by x power 4. Let's see what happens. So you will have 18 plus x squared equal to 4x power 4. I hope that makes sense, right? Because if you take 18 over this times this will cancel out. You will have 18. 1 over this times this will cancel, and you have 2 remaining. That will be x squared, and then the 4 times this will be obviously this. I hope that makes sense, right? Now we have to simplify. Let's send everything to one side. You will have 4x power 4 minus x squared minus 18 have to be 0. Now again, I know this can be confusing, so what I propose is we can write this down as let u equal to x squared. So you have 4u squared, because we have to realize that x power 4 is also what? X squared square. Now x squared is now u, so u squared, right? Now minus x squared will be u minus 18. So now this is much simpler, right? It is a quadratic equation. We can solve by using the formula, or we can try to perform factorization. So here we have to have minus 1. We have to do this by trial and error to see what happens. So I can choose, let me just put 4 here, why not? 4u times u. Now we know 18 is what? 18 is 1 times 18, 2 times 9, 3 times 6, and that's about it. Now again, this is not, seems it's not working out, because I have to try one by one and see which one makes sense for it to give me minus 1. But in this case, I don't see anything working, so I can try, actually this one is fine. This one is good actually. So let's try. If I put 2 here, I put 9 here, right? For me to get minus 1, I have to have minus 9 and then plus 8. And this works because here you can see minus 9 times u is minus 9u plus 8u, that will be minus 1u, and it is what we need over here. This is good factorization. Now again, if you guys don't know how to factorize, you can always use the formula to find the value of u. So u have to be 9 over 4 and u have to be minus 2. But now again, we're not trying to find the value of u, we're trying to find the value of x. Replace back, u is actually x squared. X squared have to be 9 over 4, x squared have to be minus 2. So this will not be possible, at least not the real values, so we will not include this in our answer, only this one. X will have to be plus minus root of 9 over 4, and that should be plus minus 3 over 2. And this will be the two real roots of this equation. I hope that makes sense. Let's move on to the next question. In the diagram, we have OAB is a sector of a circle, center O and radius 12. So this is the radius, this is also the radius 12. Center O, and this is the angle 1/3 pi. Now we can always convert this if you want to. We know pi is equal to 180 degrees. So 1/3 pi is equal to 60 degrees. Up to you. You can work with degrees or pi as you please. Now again, it is always easier to work with radians in that case, because we can use the formula directly. Now let's move on. So the lines AX and BX are tangents to the circle at A and B respectively. Okay, so these two are tangent, as you can see here, they join with the center, which means this have to be 90 and this have to be 90. Okay, now part 1. We have to find the exact value of AX, giving your answer in terms of root of 3. Now where's AX? AX is this length. Now what we can do now, first thing first, we can try to break this down and see what can we use from this shape. So I can first break this down into half. Okay, now given that both are tangents, right? This is 12, 12. This also must be the same. And also, this angle right here must be the same. It is exactly half of 1/3 pi, which is what? 1/6 pi, which is 30 degrees, right? That will be the angle right here. Now, by observation, what do we have? You can see we have a right angle triangle. We are trying to find this side. We know this side. This is my A side, right? So I can use what? Tan. Tan of the angle is equal to, this is the opposite side, which is AX, over the value of the A side, 12. Now what is the value of tan 30? Now again, it is always advised to know the exact value. So tan 30 is what? Let's see, tan 30 degrees, that will be this. So how do we find this? So let's say you did not know the exact, I guess using the calculator you have now should be fine. You can find this directly on your calculator. However, let me try to see what is possible to show you guys. So for example, usually I do know that sine of 30 is 0.5. I do know cos of 30 is equal to √3/2. Now, if I want to find the value of tan of 30, I will just do sine divided by cos. So 0.5 divided by √3/2. And that will be what? So 0.5 divided by √3 divided by 2. That should be actually, that should be one value. Let me do this actually here because it seems to be confusing on the calculator. So let me continue here. We have half. Divide becomes multiply, and you have 2. So here we have √3. Cancel, cancel, you have 1/√3. So tan of this become 1/√3. So we can check 1 divided by √3 is this value. Tan 30 of 30, that will be same value. So as a way we can also derive to find the exact value as well. So let me write this down. Tan 30 is 1/√3 AX over 12, which means AX have to be 12/√3. Now again, you can always simplify if you want to. It is up to you. I will write this as follows. Now let me simplify because it's always best to simplify. So right now I have AX equal to 12/√3. Now how can we simplify this? I can multiply both sides by √3. Now why both? So I don't change the fraction. That will be 12/√3 over, this will be 3, that should be 4/√3. So this will be, AX will be 4/√3 as your exact value. Now for part 2, find the area of the shaded region, giving your answer in the form of pi and √3. Now how would you find the area of this region? So pretty easy, step by step. We understand that this side is the same as this side. So what if I just find this one first and then multiply by 2 to get both area? So first thing first, let me find the area of the whole triangle. So area of triangle, OAX will be half tan base times height. AX will be 4/√3. Again, the reason why I can do this is because the triangle is a right angle triangle. Now simplify. That'll be 1, 6. That'll be 24/√3 for the area of this triangle. Now I can remove this value over here, so I can only have this one. So minus the area of the sector OAX, that will be half r square, which is 12 square, theta, the angle is 1/6 pi. In terms of radians, if you want to use the formula here, you have to use radians. That will become what? Let's see. So 12 square times half times 1/6, you will have 12. That will be 12 pi. So Now, here we are only trying to find this area, just this one. That will be the big one, 24 root 3 minus 12 pi. But we understand that this and this are the same, so we can just multiply by 2 to find the area that we need to find. This minus 24 pi. Okay, and that will be the area in terms of pi and root 3. You can always write centimeters square for the area. And that will be a question regarding circular measure. Let's move on to the next question. The diagram shows a rectangle ABCD. The point A is 2, 4, the point B is minus 2, 8, and C lies on the x-axis. Okay, as we can see here. Now part 1, find the equation of BC. BC is this one. Now again, we understand BC is a straight line. To find the equation of a straight line, we must first find the gradient of BC. So, how would you find the gradient of BC? Now, by observation, we can see that the line AB is perpendicular to the line BC. So we can use the gradient of AB to find that of BC. So AB first, that will be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So 14 minus 8, that should be 6 divided by 4, that should be 3 over 2. Now from this we can derive the gradient of BC, and that should be minus 2 over 3. Because whenever we have two lines which are perpendicular to each other, as you can see here, right, perpendicular, we can understand that the relationship should be gradient of AB multiplied by the gradient of BC gives you the value of minus 1. So because of that relationship, if you find one of them, you can derive the other one. Now, we have the gradient, we have the passing point B, we can find the equation of BC. So the passing point is minus 2, 8. That is the x value and the y value. So y minus its corresponding value over x minus 2 will be plus 2 is equal to the gradient. Again, this is just a method that I use to find the equation of a straight line. If you have another method, you can always use yours, obviously. Now cross multiply. Let's see what do we have. You will have 3y minus 24 minus 2x minus 4. 3y equal to minus 2x minus 4 plus 24. 3y equal to minus 2x plus 20. And that will be the equation of BC. That is part 1 of the question. Now for part 2, the coordinates of C and D, we have to find those 2 points. So first point, pretty easy, find the point of C. Now, as always, at the x-axis, what do we know? The value of y must be 0. Replace in the equation of BC, you will have 0 here, and minus 2x plus 20. X will be the value of 10. So the point C will be 10, 0. Now we have to find the point D. How would you find the point D? Okay, so there's actually a few ways. I guess we can use, depends what we want to use here. So we can draw. So we can actually, let me go the usual way. That is what we usually do anyways. So when we want to find a point that we have on this diagram, as you can see, it is a point of intersection of the line CD and the line AB. Right, we can see that. Now again, so to find that, we must first find the equation of CD and the equation of AD. So this is a point of intersection. But that is one way of doing that. But the easiest way is actually we can just move. Because it is a rectangle, we understand that these two sides must be in the same direction, and this side is in the same direction as this. So what can we conclude? For example, let me explain. From B, for me to move to C, it's the same thing if I move from A to D. So for example, if I were to move, let me draw this here. It's basically a vector displacement. So mark this and mark that, right? So from B going to C, I have to first move. So from -2, we have to move 12 squares, 12 places to go to 10. That is 10, right? And we have to move 8 minus 8 downwards. So the displacement will be 12 minus 8, if that makes sense. Now, because obviously they are in the same direction, as you can see here, it will be the same kind of displacement if I were to move from the point A going to D, right? So you can see we can use what? Here we have again 12 and minus 8. From the point to 14, we have to move, so plus 12, right? Plus 12 minus 8. Let's see what do we get. That should be 14. 14 minus 8, that should be what? Let's check. 14 minus 8, that should be 6. So the point D will be 14, 6. But again, that is only one method of doing that. Again, this is not, usually I would not go this way because I do not want to confuse people, but I hope that is simple as well, because it is very easy to use this method, because we know these two sides have to be in the same direction, this as well, so we can use vector displacement. Again, the first method also is very easy. The point D is a point of intersection between CD and AD. We can just find those two equations and solve them simultaneously. It is up to you. The point C is this. The point D will be 14, 6. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. The second term of a geometric progression is 3, and the sum to infinity is 12. So sum to infinity is 12, and the second term, which is AR, is equal to the value of 3. Again, it is given to you already the kind or the type of progression this is. So we can know, or we are given all the formulas as well in the sheet. We can just copy them. The first term is A, we know this. The nth term is given to you by ARn minus 1, and the sum to infinity is given to you by A divided by 1 minus R. Right. Now we can use this to follow up with the questions. Part 1, find the first term of the progression. So find the value of A. So let's use these values. So at first we have A over 1 minus R is equal to 12. So A have to be 12 times 1 minus R. That's my equation number 1. And here we have A times R is equal to 3. So R is equal to 3 over A. Replace R here by this, you will have what? A is equal to 12, 1 minus 3 over A. Okay. Now, what can happen? Let me expand this. You will have A equal to 12 minus 36 over A. We can multiply by A. Let's see what happens. So you will have A squared, 12A minus 36. Send everything to one side. You will have A squared minus 12A plus 36 equal to 0. Now we can simply factorize. A is here, A is here. So that will be what? Let's check. So 36 could be, so 36 is 1 times 36, 2 times 18, 3 times 12, 4 times 9, and that should be pretty much everything that we know. So what can we choose here so that we get minus 12? Seems like we have something not working out. Let me double check this again just to confirm. Sum to infinity is 12. We have this over here, good. A over this, okay, good. 12 minus this should be R. Now here we have the second term of this progression. So 2 here, A, it will be this. So R will be 3 over A. Okay, makes sense till now. Okay, let's try to solve this. B squared, 4 times A times C. Oh, seems to be fine. So let me try to use the formula to see what happens. So A have to be minus B plus minus B squared is 12 squared minus 12 squared 144 minus 4 times a times c. Divided by 2a will be 2. So 144 minus 4 times 36 should be 0. So your answer will be 12 over 2. That should be 6. Okay, so yeah, I'm missing one. Obviously, I'm such a dumbass. So 36 is 6 times 6. That should be minus 6 minus 6. So a will be 6. So as you can see, again, if you guys are confused about factorization, you can always use the formula to find the value of a. Now let's move on. So here we have 6 done, the value of a. That's part 1. And for part 2, we have an arithmetic progression has the same first term and second terms as the geometric. So first term is 6, and second term, that is second term, is equal to 3. That is 6, 3. This is the first two terms. Now we have to find the sum of the first 20 terms of this progression. So pretty easy. From here you can see the common difference is minus 3, right? From 6 to go to 3, we have to minus 3. So now since we know the first term is 6 and the common difference is minus 3, we can find the sum of the first 20 terms pretty easily just by using the given formulas, right? So we know that sum of the first 20 terms have to be half times n, which is 20, times 2a, 2 times a will be 12, plus d is minus 3, times n minus 1 should be 19. Now we just have to solve. So this will be 10 over here. We have 12 minus 3 times 19 should be 45 times 10. That should be minus 450 as your answer for the sum of the first 20 terms. Now let's move on to the next question. The function f is defined by this. F of x equal to a plus b cos 2x for x between 0 and 2 pi and pi. It is given that f of 0 is equal to this and f of half pi is equal to this. So we have to use these given values to find what? To find the unknown, which is a and b. That is part 1 of the question. So let's do this. So first thing first, we have f of 0 is equal to minus 1. So replace, that will be a plus b. Cos of 0 will be minus 1. Now what is cos of 0? Cos of 0 will be 1. So we have a plus b times 1 is b equal to minus 1. That is my first equation. Now for this one, we have half of pi, that will be 7. So replace, you will have a plus b cos 2 times this will be this, that will be 7. Simplify, cos of pi radians, that will be minus 1. So a minus, so times b minus, so b times minus 1 is minus b, so a minus b, that have to be 7. That is my equation number 2. So as you can see, we have two unknowns, we have two equations that we can use, so obviously we can solve this simultaneously. So let's make a become subject, minus 1 minus b. Replace here, you will have minus 1 minus b equal to 7. That will be minus 2b have to be 8, so b have to be minus 4. Now a will be minus 1 minus 4, that should be minus 1 plus 4, and that will give you the value of 3. So let's go, we have the two values, a will be 3 and b will be minus 4. Now moving on, part 2, we have to find the x value or the x coordinate of the points where the curve intersects the x-axis. Now we know that at the x-axis, the value of y, at x-axis, y have to be 0. So let's solve the equation. We have now f of x, which is simply y, is equal to, a is given to you by 3, b is minus 4 cos 2x. Now we have, this will be 0. Now again, f of x is y, okay? I hope that makes sense. As you can see here, right, f of x is y. Now, solve one by one. First, we make cos 2x become subject, so that will be this. Now, we understand that when cos is positive, it will be in the first quadrant, And in the fourth quadrant, that will be the angle 2x, right? And that will be 360 minus 2x. So 2x will be cos inverse of 3 over 4. So cos inverse, that will be in radians. So that's good. 3 over 4, that will give me what? That will give me 0.723. This is for the first quadrant. Now for this one, now 360 degrees is also 2 pi. 2 pi minus 2x was found to be this. So 2 pi minus answer, that should be 5.56. Okay, that will be the two values that we have for this, for 2x. Now obviously we're trying to find the value of x, so divide by 2. That will be what? 0.723 divided by 2, 0.362, and then 5.56 divided by 2, 2.78. These will be the values of x that we have for part 2 of the question. Now for part y, we have to sketch the graph of y equal to f of x. So pretty easy. First thing first, let me write down the equation. So here we have f of x was found to be 3 minus 4 cos 2x. Now as always, I always recommend first, let's make a table of values. That will be x and y. I will begin from the value of 0. And for the intervals I will choose is pretty easy. Because here we have the value of 2, I will take 90 divided by 2. That is 45 degrees, which is also pi by 4. So interval will be pi by 4, so pi by 4 here, and then that will be pi by 2, 3 pi by 4, and finally that should be just pi. Now we just have to find the corresponding values. When x is 0, that will be 3 minus 4 times cos of 0, that should be minus 1. 3 minus 4 cos of pi over 2, that will be 3. 3 minus 4 cos of pi, that will be 7. 3 minus 4 cos of 3 pi over 4, that should be the value of, so I'm missing 2 here, my apologies, that should be 2, that should be exact 3. And finally we have 3 minus 4 cos of pi, that should be 7. So again, missing 2 here, 2 pi, that should be minus 1. So be careful when you put these values in your calculator. You can always make silly mistakes. Just be careful. Now again, now it is pretty easy. We just have to plot the points. It is only a sketch. That will be the y, and this is the x-axis. Okay, so now we have 0 here. That will be pi by 4, pi by 2, 3 pi by 4, and then pi. So first value will be, let's say this is minus 1, so 0 minus 1. And then we have pi by 4, 3. Let's say 3 is somewhere over here. Then we have pi by 2, 7. Say over here, and then 3, and that should be minus 1. Of course, you have to kind of label these axes or the points over here to show that you know what you're doing. That will be the maximum point. Something like this for your graph. Of course, you have to label the x values as well to show that you have made some work to find these points. And at the end, don't forget to label this as f of x, y equal to f of x as your sketch. And this is the question in relation to trigonometry, and also I think this will be more in the chapter of functions, but as you can see, everything that we've done here is connected to trigonometry. Let's move on to the next question. So relative to a point O, the position vectors of A and B are given to you by this and this. Great. Part 1. Given that C is a point such that we have this and this, we have to find the unit vector in the direction of OC. So pretty easy. That will be what? Unit vector in direction of OC, that will be OC itself divided by its magnitude. Now we have to first find OC and then find its magnitude. So one by one, of course, we have to use the given information. So here we have AC. How would you find AC? AC is equal to, by definition, is OC minus OA. 2 times AB. Now what is AB? AB is simply OB. 3, 2 minus 4 minus OA. That will be 4, 1 minus 2. So now we can simplify one by one. So let me continue over here. Why not? So OC have to be, we send this over here, right? So first thing first, 3 minus 4 is minus 1 times 2 minus 2. 2 minus 1 is 1 times 2 will be 2. Minus 4 minus 2 should be, so minus 4 plus 2 should be minus 2 times 2 will be minus 4 times this. Then plus OA is 4, 1, minus 2. Let's see what do we have. Minus 2 plus 2 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. Minus 4 minus 2 should be minus 6. So here you go. The first part we know now. The value is 2, 3, minus 6. Divided by its magnitude, that will be 4 plus 9 plus 36. That will be a root of 49. Now we can simplify, obviously. That will be, so root of 49 is 7, so that will be 1 over 7 times the rest. That will be 2, 3 minus 6. That will be the unit vector in the direction of OC. That is part 1 of the question. Now for part 2, the position vector of D is given to you by this, where K is a constant, and then it is given that we have this equation where M and N are constants. So we have to find the values of M, N, and K. Okay, so one by one. So OD is 1, 4, K is equal to M times OA is given to you by 4, 1, minus 2 plus N OB is 3, 2 minus 4. So this question is not hard. It's just, as you can see, there's many steps. We have to proceed carefully. So we have to first expand these brackets. You will have 1, 4K is equal to 4M plus 3M, M plus 2M, and then here we have minus 2M minus 4N. Now we just have to equate, right? So first equation we have is 4M plus 3N is equal to 1. Then we have M. That will be this. Now we can make this become subject, so M will be 4 minus 2N. Replace back in your equation, you have 4 times M, which is also 4 minus 2N plus 3N have to be 1. Solve one by one. 4 times 4 is 16 minus, that will be 8N plus 3N equal to 1. This will be minus 5, and that should be, of course, N here, and that should be minus 15. So N will be the value of 3. From here, M will be 4 minus 6, that should be minus 2. So finally, K have to be minus 2 times M, which is minus 2, minus 4 times 3, so that will be plus 4 minus 12, that should be minus 10. So values of M is minus 2, N is 3, and K will be minus 10. Now, so over here I did realize I made a very stupid mistake. So 4 minus 12 is what? That is not, definitely not minus 10, right? So 4 minus 12 is minus 8. So K will be minus 8, and that should be minus 8 as your answer over here. So that should be very clear, but again, always verify it using your calculator so you don't make these kind of silly mistakes. Let's move on to the next question. The equation of the curve is this, right? Now the first thing we can do is we can rewrite this equation. That will be what? Y equal to 2x plus 8x power minus 2. Now part 1, we have to find dy by dx and d2y by dx2. So step by step, let's first find dy by dx. That will be simply 2 first multiplied by the power, that should be minus 16, and then minus 1, that should be, and that will be 2 minus 16 over x power 3. That should be part 1. Now for part 2, d2y by dx2, let's see what do we have. So differentiate this, d2y by dx2. That will be 0, and we will have 48. So minus 3 times 16, that will be what? Minus 3 times minus 16, that should be 48. Then we have to minus 1 to the power, should be this, and finally that should be 48 over the value of x power 4. That is part 1 of the question. Now part 2, we have to find the coordinates of the stationary point on the curve and find its nature. So first thing first, we have to find the point, the stationary point. And we know this happens when dy by dx is equal to 0. Okay? So let me equate that. We have here 2 minus 16 over x cubed is equal to 0. I can send this over here. That will be 16 over x cubed will be the value of 2. Now we can just cross multiply. You will have 16 equal to 2x power 3. X power 3 will be 8. So x will be the value of 2. Okay, that is my x value. Now what is a y value? Y value replaced back in your equation on top here, right? That will be 2 times 2 plus 8 divided by 4. That should be 4 plus 2. That should be 6. So the point is 2, 6. Now to find its nature, we have to use d2y by dx2. So what is d2y by dx2 at the point where x equal to the value of 2? That was 48 divided by 2 power 4. That was the value of 3. So because it was positive, we can confirm that should be a minimum point. Okay, that will be the nature of the point. That is part 2 of the question. Now for part 3, we have to show that the normal to the curve at the point here intersect the x-axis at this point. So one by one, we have to first find the equation of the normal. Now first thing, we have to find the gradient of the tangent, and then from that find the gradient of the normal, because we know that the normal and the tangent, they are at 90 degrees. So this is normal, this is tangent. So what is the gradient of the tangent? It is simply dy by dx at the point x equal to minus 2. Replace, you will have what here? So here we have 2 minus 16 divided by minus 2 power 3. That should be value of 4. Right, that will be the gradient of the tangent. Now from this, we can derive the gradient of the normal should be minus 1 over 4. Okay, now moving on, we can find the equation of the normal. We have the passing point and the tangent, so y plus 2 over x plus 2 have to be minus 1 over 4. Cross multiply, you have 4y plus 8, and that should be minus x minus 2. So from here, 4y have to be minus x minus 10. That will be the equation of the normal. Now, on the x-axis, what do we know? The value of y have to be 0. Replace. So 0 here. That will be minus x minus this. Send x over here. X will be minus this. So the point obviously will be minus 10 and then 0. Shown as required. Now for part 4, we have to find the area of the region enclosed by the curve, the x-axis, and the line this. So pretty easy. The main idea behind this is, what if we had the curve or the shape? At least we can kind of see what's happening. That will be my value of y and x. For example, the shape of the curve is like this. Who cares, really? And then the line, that will be the line that we have, x equal to 1, x equal to 2. This will be the limits of integration, because we're trying to find the area on the curve in this case. So that will be, curve is y is 2x plus 8x power 2 minus 2, and limits will be 2 and 1. So that will be respect to dx. So one by one, that will be x squared, and then we have minus 8 x power minus 1, limits of 2, 1. That should be 4 minus 8 over 2 minus 1 minus, that should be minus 8 over 1. So 4 minus 4, right, that should be 0. and that should be minus 8. That should be 8 units square for your area. So here as well, if you see this question, we have minus, where's 1? 1, I forgot to include 1. So 1 minus 8 is actually minus 7. That should be 7. So your answer here should be 7 units square instead of 8 because I forgot the 1. So 1 minus 8 will be minus 7. Minus 7 should be just 7. Okay, just be careful. You always use your calculator. So let's move on to the next question. So here we have the diagram shows the graph of y equal to f of x. Okay, now f of x is given to you by this. This is the equation of f of x. As you can see, it is going down. Now part 1, we have to find an expression for f prime of x and explain how your answer shows that f is a decreasing function. So step by step. So what can we do now? First thing, we realize that I can rewrite f of x as 6 2x plus 3 power minus 1. Right, so now we can differentiate to find f prime of x. That will be first multiply by the power, that will be minus 6. Then we have 2x plus 3 obviously, and then we have to decrease by 1, that should be minus 2. Then multiply by d by dx of the value inside, you have 2 here. So you have minus 12 over the value of this square. This is your value of f prime of x. Now you can just explain that the value here will be positive, it is square. Now you can see for any value of x, for any x more than 0, according to the domain given to you, we realize that f prime of x have to be less than 0. Why is that? Because minus 12 divided by something positive will be negative, if that makes sense. So negative divided by positive will give you something negative no matter what. In that case, it is going to be a decreasing function. So that will be reason why decreasing, and this will be given to you by this. Now for part 2, we have to find an expression in terms of x for f inverse of x and find the domain of that. So let's find f inverse of x. Okay, so step by step, let y be, so let me do that. Let y be f of x, which is 6 over 2x plus 3. Next step is we will try to make x become the subject. So first thing first, cross multiply, you will have 2xy plus 3y, that have to be 6. 2yx have to be 6 minus 3y, and then x will be 6 minus 3y divided by 2y. So f inverse, it is in terms of x, we have to change that to x. 6 minus 3x over 2x. That will be f inverse of x. That is part 2 of the question. Now what else? So we have to find the domain. Okay. Now something we have to know here is that domain of f inverse is the same as the range of f. Now to find the range of f, we can just look at the graph. As you can see here, the graph starts from here, right? And then as it goes, it approaches the value. What value? Let me write this down. The equation of f of x is what? It is 6 over 2x plus 3. Now when x is 0, what is the value we have? That will be 6 over 3, and that should be 2. As you can see, this have to be 2 right here. Now by observation, if x continues, so if x continues to infinity, we can confirm that x plus 3 would also go to infinity. Now 6 divided by infinity, it means it is going to 0, right? So we can write this here. So the range domain of this, so the range of f is actually y. Domain is range is always described by y or f directly. It is between what values? It is between the value of, so of course we will not be including 0. It only approaches 0, that will be 0, and then equal to 2. That will be the domain of the f function. Now we are trying to the range of f function. Now we're trying to find the domain or inverse. So domain, it is described by x. We just have to write x between the same thing. That should be 2 and 0. That will be your answer for the domain of f inverse. Now for part 3, we have to copy and sketch the graph of this, making a clear relationship between the graphs. So as we have seen many times before, the relationship between a graph and its inverse is simply a reflection in the line y equal to x. That's very simple. So let me make a sketch real quick. So we have the y-axis, the x-axis, and we have to show this line, which is the relationship between them. This is the line y equal to x. Now this is given to you here, right? Something like this. So we just have to kind of reflect that. So this is the point over here, and you will go something have to be a reflection. Label this as y equal to f of x. This is y equal to f inverse of x. So this is the graph, and this is the relationship, which is a reflection in the line y equal to x. It is always going to be that case. Now, last question. The function g is defined by this. We have to find this. So let's see, what can we do? First thing first, let's try to find f g of x. That will be f g of x will be 6 divided by 2 g of x plus 3. Now simplify. 6, 2 times g of x will be what? So g of x is this. That should be just 2 times half x plus 3. That should be 6 over x plus 3. Now this is equal to 3 over 2, as we can see right here. Now first thing first, we can divide by 3. That will be 1, and that should be 2. Then we cross multiply. You will have 4 here, and that will be x plus 3. X will be the value of 1. And that is your answer for the last question, which is f g of x equal to 3 over 2.